I'm going to go into number one police reform agenda I've got on my head, and that is police officers should be required to have 4-year college degrees. I'm going to explain to you why I feel that way, and I'm going to explain to you why it would benefit our law enforcement. I realized that law enforcement probably was not my cup of tea for a number of reasons. Because when I did the internship, and this was why I believe in, if you're going to be a police officer, I believe that you should have to have at least a 4-year college degree, law enforcement training, and then you can be a police officer.
What's the current system set up like?
And I think that law enforcement training should be part of that 4-year degree.
So 4 years plus law enforcement, or like 2 years degree?
4-year college, but the police academy being part of that 4-year curriculum and
as an additional. Something you do outside of your
prerequisite of a law enforcement. So you're going to have your gun training, you're going to have your hand-to-hand combat, you're going to have, so you have your college curriculum, your typical stuff, but that law enforcement, you have all your college, but that's like your active law enforcement, your police academy, and it all goes together inevitably as a 4-year situation. Well, from what I understand it, I don't think you can come right out of high school and go and be a police officer. We have to look that up. Wow. According to Google, the minimum requirements to be a police officer in Florida, you have to be at least 19 years of age, be a citizen of the U.S., earned a high school diploma or a GED, and a bachelor's degree is required for only correctional probation officers. So we're talking right out of high school. Go into a police academy, which, let's see, how long does a police academy last? Approximately 6 months of training.
6 months of training?
Okay.
That's it?
That's it. Okay. Now, with that said, first of all, let's think about this. You do have kids that come out of high school that go into the military.
Oh, kids are going right to the military out of high school, but that, yeah.
Okay, so let's keep that in mind. So I don't want to say, military is kind of like an open entity, and the only time the danger arises is when you have to go to war.
Yeah.
Police are at war every day.
Yeah,
okay,
that's true.
on the job. I'm not going to take away from military because I'm not going to say that, but I think being a police officer at the age of 19, coming out of high school, and you get 6 months of training is not enough, I'm sorry, to be a law enforcement officer, because it goes beyond gun training. It goes beyond how to handcuff. It goes beyond knowing the codes. It goes beyond the
psychology of it.
Plus, at 19 years old, you're not very mature. You haven't seen a lot. You haven't been punched in the face probably at the age of 19, unless you were a kid that ran amok and was fighting everybody. You probably never had somebody really grapple or wrestle with you, let alone be in your face, screaming, all of these things. You get 6 months of training on that? No, I don't think so. So what I think is going on, and what we need to do, is there needs to be immensely higher requirements to be a police officer. I do not think having a GED or high school diploma and being 19 years of age, going to a training for 6 months is adequate. I think they need to have a full 4-year college, because they need to learn all categories of criminal justice. So you've got mental health. That includes Alzheimer's, autism, Asperger's. I'm not saying that autism and all them are unhealthy mentally. What I'm saying is they have a mental disability, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, but as police officers, you need to be able to recognize when you're dealing with somebody with Alzheimer's, somebody who has mental health issues. You have to know so you need to be educated in community policing. So what that entails is in community policing, which is a required.
Go. I just did my toe. Go.
There you have it.
Then you'd be required.
With community policing, because it's a required college course, it's a prerequisite.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be taken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with community policing, you learn all those different things. You learn about Alzheimer's. You learn about Asperger's. Now, that's another thing they should be putting into the police academy. So you've got all these different courses. It's a criminal justice. You're getting a degree in criminal justice, and the last 2 years you focus on. I mean, everything. It's more than guns. What I'm trying to say, it's more than guns. It's more than arresting. It's more than tackling. It's more than detaining. It's more than sitting in your patrol car. It's so much bigger than that, because we're dealing with behaviors more. We're trying to understand behaviors more as a society. So in order for us to understand society, you can't just go to a 6-month course.
So do you think criminal justice degree covers enough material? Do you think it needs to focus more on the psychology, behavioral, or do you feel fully, to be a police officer, do you feel fully prepared walking out with your degree, and if you did police training, the police academy?
I think a lot of that is in-field experience, though. So you're told about how to handle mental health, but you really don't know how to handle mental health until you're there dealing with it, right then and there. Because mental health can be on a lot of different spectrums. So you can say, hey, there's going to be a scenario about this. What if this person has this and they're on this type of drug? What do you do? Well, you really don't know what you're going to do till you get there. So early on in college, by taking those 4 years of college, I learned that I did not want to be up here on the law enforcement spectrum. I was going to have to kind of come down a bit and probably stay in the lower spectrum in order for me to work with people that I wanted to be around, and that was the younger kids. So I could have done juvenile probation, for juvenile delinquents that had been in trouble, but I decided not to do that. I decided, okay, because juvenile probation officers have to arrest. Probation officers have to arrest. So here comes that click. Alright, so by being a security officer at a university, I was able to be around the youth, the younger generation, still be authority, but give the opportunity to learn from the problem they had. Hopefully, it goes well, and then, but I was just able to stay out of the law enforcement side and just stay where I felt comfortable. And by doing those 4 years, I realized that I don't want to be on this part. I want to kind of be on this part more. However, you have to amplify, well, this makes more money or this doesn't. Well, here's the thing. A police officer that's 19 years old probably makes what? $35,000?
Not enough drink.
$35,000. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, no. They need to go to 4 years of college, because when I went, that's where I learned where I wanted to go. I learned what I didn't want to do. So what did I do? Back to my juvenile. I went and did an internship at a juvenile detention center. Number one, first of all, 6 months is not a legitimate amount of time for anybody, I believe, to be in a profession of law enforcement. Let's think about law enforcement. It's dangerous, it's aggressive, it's emotional, it's tiring, extremely tiring. These officers work 12-hour shifts. Usually on their days off, they're training. They're still doing work. They're training. They're qualifying with their weapons. They're going over tactics. They're doing extra things even on their days off. So we're talking about a career of not a big home life, very stressful, high strung, very stimulated, and I don't think 6 months of a training course can teach you anywhere close to what you need to know as far as being a law enforcement officer, because with all those serious things that I just mentioned, I don't know about you, but those things are pretty serious. Aggression, you deal with aggressive people, you know, that's serious. You deal with some good people. I don't want to say everybody's aggressive, because that's not what I'm trying to say, but a lot of times when the police show up, most people are going to have an aggressive attitude.
So